Hi, I'm Jennet Ingle, the 5-Minute Reedmaker. If you're watching this on YouTube, could you go ahead and click subscribe? That way you will always know when I drop a new episode. So I was in a lesson recently with a person who had just gotten her very first micrometer, and she was excited to start measuring like the heart of her reed and just see exactly how thick it was. But she asked, what are the little red numbers for? And I said, what little red numbers? And we looked, and sure enough, right by all the black numbers on this micrometer, you can see that there's a tiny red number. And the red numbers appear to be the opposite, right? It goes around from 0 to 100, and on your way along, the red number is sort of the negative of the black number. So 100 minus 10 is 90, and 100 minus 20 is 80, which I had to think about it. I'm like, why would I ever need to know the inverse or the inside out part of the number? And then I thought, aha, what if those little red numbers could answer the question that everyone asks me, which is, how much cane did you just take off your reed? Now, I do understand that math is not hard and that I could easily just subtract using the regular black numbers. And really the purpose of this video is not to question how we read a micrometer, but rather to ask how much cane comes off when I scrape on a reed. So here's how I thought we could measure it. I have here a piece of shaped soaked cane, and I'm just going to quickly measure sort of my center dimension, which, as I would expect, reads almost exactly 60. Keep on going down a little bit, just make sure that it stays the same. 60. 60. So in the center of this cane, the spine region of this cane, I've got a consistent 60 millimeter dimension. So now I'm going to wind it on, and I'm going to start scraping and just take measurements after each phase of my scrape and see where we land. Doesn't that sound like fun? All right, so I'm back with this nicely wound up blank. I scraped the littlest bit on the sides just because I needed to seal at the top. And we know that this reed is 60 millimeters in the middle. So I'm going to start by doing my long scrape. And this is, I think, the thing that people have the most questions about, so we'll focus on it for a minute. In my long scrape, I scrape on the right side and on the left side of the center, dealing with about the top 7 or 8 millimeters of the reed, just going downhill through the tip as aggressively as I dare. And I'll do the other side as well. And my goal is that there's quite a dramatic slope already in the tip area before I actually clip the reed open. That's my goal. Then I go back and just do sort of an easy scrape that way, only removing the bark, not trying to aggressively remove anything. So I haven't tried to build in a rooftop. I haven't tried to take off tons and tons of wood, but I have removed the bark and I've built in slope into the tip. Then I clip it open, and this is where we get to see just how much cane I took off. At this point, if I've done my job right, the reed should already have just a little bit of vibration, just from that slope in the tip. And, you know, that's not easy to get, but I can get it. And now I want to see what I've done. I clipped off the tiniest possible amount. So my blank was 73 millimeters, and now it is 72 millimeters. At the very tip of the tip, where it used to be 60, now I see about 31. And remember those little red numbers? I'm not using them at all. Let's say that I was at 60, and now I'm at 30, 31, so 29 or 30 microns, hundredths of a millimeter, is what I've removed here. Other blade. Whew. Fascinatingly, the other blade, I seem to have taken off less, or I've got a thick lump. And actually, I can even see that. My top blade is the one which remained thick, and you can see that there's... Wow! If you had asked me, I would have said I did a perfectly symmetrical job scraping, but that is clearly not the case. If I move back, say a millimeter-ish, I'm just sort of estimating here. On my thinner side, 30 up to 38, another millimeter in. I'm up to 46 and a half. Just sort of scooting my way back, just above 50. And I'm going to go all the way into the middle of the heart, which is still reading 60. Because even though I scraped the left and right sides, I left bark in the middle of the heart there. Now that's going to come away because ultimately my heart, as you know, is going to be 50 or between 45 and 50. Ultimately this tip is going to get all the way down to 0.1, like to 10, or even to 0.08. Here's my heavier side again. Let's just look at that. At the very tip, I'm at 45, 45, 47, 49, over 50, over 50, and as I slide right up into the heart, there I am at 60 again. So, first of all, turns out I'm sloppy when I move from back to front because this side ended up much thicker than this side. Second of all, notice that although I'm going to go down ultimately to about 10 at the very tip of the tip and probably 0.08 at the corners, right now I'm only at, what's the corner? Sorry. In the middle of the tip, after this long scrape, as we said, I'm at 30. At the very corner, and this is tricky to measure, I'm down at about 14. Let's see if that's, let's see how I did with left to right symmetry here. About 15, 16. So that is what my long scrape does. That is how much cane I take off right away. And still, moving forward on my day 1 scrape, I would now go ahead and construct my rooftop. This you've seen me do a million times. Just building in a rooftop and building in slope. And I'm just sort of rough scraping. All I want is for it to beep and crow a little bit. I'll go behind the heart a little bit. In the windows. And then I'll just arc over the heart a little bit. I did more on this side because it felt heavier. So now that I've got my beep and crow, and this is my day 1 scrape, I'll give you those measurements again. Right at the tip of the tip, right in the middle, I'm at 13, 22, about halfway back within the tip. Right here, like just above the chimney, I'm at 30 something or other, 33. Middle of the heart is still above 50. Yeah. I've come away from 60, which is where my cane started, but I've not gone a lot away, and this is clearly not a finished read. I'll just check the other side real fast. 16 at the tip of the tip, 25 halfway back, and interestingly here on this side, in the middle of the heart, I've gotten it down below 50. Again, this is my own sloppiness, but I still don't think and there's 50 again. I'm just sort of questing around for that thick place, the spine. All right, so in other words, from my 60, my 0.6, my 60 hundredths of a millimeter in the center of this reed, when it was cane, raw cane, when it was gouged cane, I took it down by about half at the very tip, making a dramatic slope in this area, and then left this almost fully thick, taking off only the bark. And then as I moved into my day one scrape, I've gotten it probably halfway down again. So from 30 at the middle of the tip, I got it down to, what did I say, 14, 15? With my ultimate goal of 10. So this is not as thin as it will be in its finished state, but it's down quite a lot from 60. And I've got an open reed that beeps and crows, and that's all I need it to be. So I hope that this has been helpful and interesting. This has been a 5-minute Reedmaker lesson. You can follow these short videos here on YouTube and subscribe if you wish. And if you need to reach me to order reeds or cane, or to email me and ask me questions, you can find me at my website, jennetingle.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.